Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fantasy Factor, the show that will be sure to make your fantasy team win this upcoming weekend. I'm Joshua Craig. Over here we have Jack Geddes, and over here we have Seth Previtil. Let's get right into it and start with our top QBs. Gentlemen, what do we have for top QBs? Let's start with Jack.
Okay. I'm going to go with my boy Baker Mayfield versus Tampa Bay.
We're in A block, Jack.
Tampa Bay. It's not an outrageous prediction. He's been shaky in his first season, yes, with up and down plays. But the Bucs will fix that. They are not a good defense. They're one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They have two rookie cornerbacks at the helm of their defense. And he has weapons on that team. Njoku, Jarvis Landry, and the Bucs have allowed 5 straight quarterbacks to pass with at least 334 yards. And Baker Mayfield is going to continue that trend. He's a starter.
Just for the record, Jack is a Browns fan.
This man's a Browns fan.
Anyway, I'm going to point out a name that people may be familiar with. That is former MVP Matt Ryan. Boo. He is facing a New York Giants team that has he's averaged 355 passing yards and just over 3 touchdowns per game in contests at home, which, by the way, they are in Atlanta this week. 355 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Tampa Bay. And the New York Giants defense has allowed 278 passing yards and 3 touchdown passes. They allowed that to Carson Wentz last Thursday. Now, although Ryan is missing a few of his weapons this week, he has enough playmakers to make this a really big game. So I mean, there's not even a debate in this one.
Well, there is a debate.
They're both solid picks. I like both of them. They're both playing terrible defenses. So great job, gentlemen, on those picks. Let's throw it over to running backs. Seth, what do you got?
So for me, I'm going to roll with Saquon Barkley. He's been on a tear lately. Past 2 games, 2 receiving touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Last Thursday against Philadelphia, 229 total yards, 130 rushing on 13 carries with 1 rushing touchdown. And Atlanta has allowed the 3rd most rushing touchdowns in the NFL with 8. And they've also allowed 121.3 rushing yards per game to running backs. Saquon's your pick this week.
But can you trust him as a rookie?
You can trust him. Saquon, he's been on fire.
But they're going to get down because Eli Manning can't throw the ball.
They're going to give the ball to Saquon Barkley.
But they're not going to give it to him when they're down so much.
Time has shown that Saquon Barkley is the guy on that team. I'm liking Saquon Barkley as well.
Yeah, I mean,
why can you not give it to him?
He's really stepping into that #1 running back role.
And they are playing a terrible passing defense, but I think they're going to be a well-rounded team. Maybe even get the lead early on, so they will have to run the ball. Who knows? Jack, what do you got?
I got Joe Mixon. All right.
Over Saquon?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an interesting pick there, Jack. Explain your reasoning.
He's at Kansas City, my guys. All right? And he's the every down back, and he gets receptions. He is a starter in this league, a running back 1. That's it. That's all you need.
All right. Well, why don't we toss it over to wide receivers? Let me throw it right back to you, Jack. Who do you have that's booming this week for wide receiver?
Since you're talking about these the Giants playing the Falcons here and how they have one of the worst passing defenses, I'm going with Odell Beckham Jr., okay? He's only got 3 receivers have more targets than him, okay? And, yes, they're the 4th worst passing defense, Atlanta Falcons. And Eli goes to him often. The Falcons have allowed over 100 yards to top receivers such as Antonio Brown, A.J. Green. So he is a start in this situation because he will get touches, and most likely he had a passing touchdown last week, so he's always in for some good pointage here and there.
It sounds like we've come to a consensus that everyone on the Giants team is going off. I like it.
Except Eli Manning. Everyone except Eli Manning.
I'll be honest, as a Cowboy fan, I don't know if I like that, but that could possibly happen.
Oh, you agree with me, Seth?
Seth, what do you have?
This is purely a hunch, okay? I have Michael Thomas against Baltimore this week. Now, he had a strong start to the year, but he's kind of cooled off since then. That he's still Drew Brees' go-to guy. So, and Drew Brees, he's still dipping into that fountain of youth. We saw a couple weeks ago. This man is the most passing yards in NFL history. So, Michael Thomas, he's poised to have a huge week this week against what could be a tough Baltimore defense.
It's Baltimore's defense. You said it yourself.
Again,
they are one of the
this is
best
purely a hunch.
defenses.
You also
purely a
have to
hunch.
factor in Mark Ingram. He just came back.
Yeah, and
so you got 2 power running backs.
You have a ton
The run
of
game
weapons.
is there, Seth.
Absolutely.
So, you could give it to Michael Thomas, or you could give it to the 2
Alvin
best
Kamara.
running backs
Exactly.
in the whole
That's what I'm
entire
saying,
league.
though.
So they're not giving it to Michael Thomas.
But they have so many options on offense where Michael Thomas could potentially go off this
But he's
week.
not
Let me
going
bring someone into the
each his own, my
scenario
friend.
here, gentlemen, if you will. Tyler Boyd. I was talking about him last week, and guess what? 2 touchdowns, like 7 receptions for
Iffy,
like
not
80
good.
yards. That's
Okay.
like 23 points, everyone. If you're on the fence of starting this man, please do
it.
yourself a favor. Tyler Boyd. They're playing Kansas City, which is what we were talking about. Is debatably they are the worst team. They've given up 2,040.
I would say
They're not
team.
the
I would
worst
say
team.
No, defense.
They are
That's okay.
one of
Sorry
the
for
best
misspeaking,
teams.
gentlemen. They're the worst
We're a
passing
team
defense.
here.
Tyler Boyd getting a lot of receptions. I'm liking AJ Green and I'm liking Tyler Boyd going into this matchup. But yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Tight ends, gentlemen. Seth, what do you got?
Okay, so I'm going to go with my man Travis Kelce. It's on to Cincinnati for Kansas City. In this case, they will be at Kansas City. But the Bengals have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing tight ends so far in 2018, including a dozen receptions to Pittsburgh's weak tight end core. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh?
They do not have a great.
Please
they do
don't
not
tell
have
me
great
Pittsburgh.
weapons at tight end. So meanwhile,
pretty good
Kelsey
ones.
ranks 2nd in
Jesse
the NFL.
James?
Excuse me, I'm talking. Meanwhile, Kelsey ranks 2nd among all NFL tight ends in receptions with 33 and receiving yards, including 5 or more receptions in the past 5 Kansas City games. So this is shaping up to be a shootout in Kansas City, and Travis Kelce is going to be a huge part of that.
All right.
Jack, what you got?
You might be okay there. I'll give you that.
I'm definitely okay there.
David Njoku, people, versus Tampa Bay.
Jack, wait a minute. Can you pronounce that one more time for both of us?
Njoku.
All right. Thank you.
Well, it's his name, David Njoku. Anyway, the Bucks have allowed at least 16.6 points per game to tight ends in all of their game. And David Njoku is no joke. He is one of the players Baker targets the most. And with a depleted receiving core, expect him to break out not only for this game, but looking forward into the season. I think he might be a tight end number 1 for the future games.
All right, I hate to add into this Giants pool of going off or whatever.
gosh.
Tight ends. Evan Ingram is back, boys. Evan Ingram is back. He had a little injury there for a little while, but he's back. They're playing Atlanta defense, which we were talking about. They've given up.
We've talked about Atlanta a fair amount.
We've talked about them a fair amount. Might as well talk about it for the tight end spot. They lack in the tight end area. They can't guard that slot area there. So I think Evan Ingram, he's been resting. He's going to come back with a strong week. So give him a shot. Put him in the flex there. For
But to be fair, if you are playing Atlanta, that is a great team to put up some fantasy points against.
I'll agree with that.
Well-
So, Seth, do you have any other players this week that you think might,
Of
ring the
course,
bell?
The rookie in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes.
He's not a rookie, my dude.
On to Kansas City, rookie starter for a full season.
Doesn't matter. He's not a
consider-
rookie.
In my eyes,
He's to
Are
the
you
point-
talking about Ben
he is
Simmons
to the point
here?
where you have to start him.
top
he's just that guy?
300 passing yards in 5 straight games. Produced multiple touchdowns in 5 of 6 Kansas City games. I mean, this man's a must start at this point. We don't have
All
to
right,
talk about it.
these are all interesting points, but start those players, and you could probably guarantee yourself a win this fantasy weekend. So stay tuned for some more updates.
Is how are you, Precious? Okay.
Take out the precious. It's way too cheesy.
Okay, yeah.
Just go,
sure.
hey, how are you?
Nope.
How's your day?
Yeah.
Don't be cheesy.
Yeah, I figured.
So, what'd she say?
She's still typing. I'm not sure. She never takes this long.
I wouldn't worry about it. Give it a few minutes.
Okay.
Hey, bud. Hey,
What?
what are you doing October 17th at 2 p.m.?
I don't know. What are you guys doing?
Funny you should ask, because we're actually watching the Media Summit Red Carpet Show at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, October 17th on WTOP 10.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Welcome back to Fantasy Factor, and here's who to pick up. Jack.
All right, so this week, if you're looking for a quarterback, because a lot of quarterbacks are on buys this week, Ben Roethlisberger's one of them. Russell Wilson's also on a buy. So you're one of your teams. You're probably going to look for a quarterback. Joe Flacco. He's only owned in 29% of leagues, and this week he's playing the Saints defense, and it is brutal. They let Fitzmagic, who's not starting anymore,
There's
walk.
no more magic in Tampa.
There is no magic in Tampa. That's a frightening thing. So they let Fitzmagic walk all over them. And with Joe Flacco's new updated receiving core, I think he's getting into Super Bowl self. I think he's going to get off this week again.
You're going with the seasoned vet. I'm going with the young blood, Mitch Trubisky against the New England Patriots. He's owned in 29% of leagues, coming off a huge game at Miami, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 47 rushing yards. Not to mention, before the Chicago Bears bye week, 6 touchdown passes. I mean,
That was a fluke.
A fluke.
A fluke.
This man's got 9 touchdown passes in the
fluke.
last 2 games. And New England has allowed the 3rd most touchdown passes in the NFL. And as of late, that's Mitch's thing. So if Mitch Trubisky is available, pick him up.
Pick him up.
No!
I like that, Seth. I like that a lot. You know? And Seth, are you...
You're right there.
I'm great. I'm
You're really excited for
even
Mitch
more
Trubisky.
excited if
Jack,
Mitch
are you
Trubisky's
saying-
on my waiver wire?
Are you
What
saying
is he?
He's not.
that a
that's
quarterback in the NFL can have a fluke, a game of
that-
6 touchdowns? Did he have any interceptions,
You want
Jack?
to talk about flukes of quarterbacks?
Did he have any interceptions,
Fitzmagic.
Seth?
He backed it up. No, he did not, by the way.
Exactly.
But he
No
also-
interceptions. That's not a fluke,
He
Jack.
also
That's
backed
an
it up the
amazing
next week.
quarterback.
He didn't have any interceptions those past 2 games. The man's been on fire. He's
been
sizzling right now.
All right, he's sizzling. I'll give you
And
that.
you're telling me Fitzmagic isn't a
I
good
ride the hot
quarterback?
hand.
Jack was the best
Okay,
quarterback before he got
That's
over
what makes a
place,
champion,
but,
you know?
All right, Jack. Let's go. Who do you got up next?
Marlon Mack. He's only owned in 51% of leagues, and the Colts running back finally have their feature back. Get it? Did you get that? Thank you, Seth.
Jack, you're
I
pretty-
need your
pretty punny there, Jack.
Goodness.
humor in my life. So he will get touches, and with Andrew Luck, they will have a good offense, and they will get down to the goal line. And once they are near the goal line, Marlon Mack will get the ball, and he will score touchdowns. And the Colts are in a lot of shootouts in the recent games. So
fair.
Marlon Mack is a fair choice to pick up this week if you're looking for a running back.
That is a fair choice, but I'm going to roll with the old guy, Frank Gore. This man
the
does
Gore.
not stop. 101 rushing yards on 15 carries against the Bears last week, averaging just over 6 yards per carry in his last 2 games, and has more carries than Kenyon Drake in his last 3.
All right, you can't bring Kenyon Drake into this.
I can, because he's on my team and he's done me little to no good this
I've
year.
told you to
Adam
drop
Gase
Kenyon Drake.
insists on using Gore, and his production is beginning to justify that. And Detroit, they're not the greatest against the run here. So, I mean, Frank Gore, if he's on your waiver wire, pick him up.
You might as well pick him up and even sit him for a little while, just because he has been. You could sit him this upcoming week because he's been doing well. You don't know if he's going to be doing this well this weekend, but might as well pick him up just to see how he does.
No.
You know,
You might as well.
So
Pick him up.
pick him up.
I love little Dumb and Dumber references. For all the kids out there who may not know,
What's
what that
Just
is.
like
Dumb and
Toys
Dumber.
R Us, you know. Toys R Us. If you don't know what Toys R Us
What's
is,
Dumb and Dumber?
it's toys. Jack, what do you got next? Come on.
All right. My wide receiver to pick up this week is Albert Wilson. He's only owned in 22% of leagues, and he blew out the Bears last week. He had 2 touchdowns, and his rack yardage was incredible with these little dink passes that Brocktober gave to him. What? You want to start? Look at this. He's just beasting the entire Chicago defense right there. He's got 4 TDs already this season, and with the many weapons that the Dolphins do have, such as Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker, I think he's one of the best that they have, and they're going to go to him more often.
You know, I'm going to roll with Willie Snead. You know, we're talking about a guy who's being, if you're being proactive, it's vital to go after this guy to improve your fantasy squad. Despite entering Week 7 as a top 40 fantasy wideout, he's still only owned in 91% of leagues. He's racked up 18 receptions. He's unowned, excuse me.
Okay.
He's only owned at 22%.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Snead has racked up 18 receptions over Baltimore's past 3 games and has 3 or more grabs in all 6 games played. So, I mean, Snead's got a good matchup this coming week against New Orleans, who we discussed before. The secondary's not that great. So, I mean, if you're looking for a wide receiver on the waiver wire this week and Snead is there, you got to go out there and get him.
You're going to ride the youth fountain here?
You know, there's a lot of good youth in the NFL.
New Orleans, they've given up 1,400 points for the passing yards, so that's not a bad.
That's not a great looking number.
Not a bad pick, and he's tied for the second receptions on that team, and they've been slowly increasing, so it's not a bad pick at all.
Yeah, and if you're looking at a guy he's looking to get a revenge game here for the Ravens. So I mean, we're talking about again going back to the youth. I mean, there's so much youth in the NFL right now that is just coming to touch all these fantasy.
You were talking about Drew Brees as the youth.
He's dipping into the fountain of youth.
Boys, you could say pick him up if you wanted to, but
all right,
stay tuned.
Pick these guys up.
Stay tuned for some more verses coming up. Thank you so much, guys.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
We will have 2 equally projected players. Jack and Seth are going to be debating who will start and who will sit. First, we have Jameis Winston versus Cleveland and Joe Flacco versus New Orleans. Both are projected 18 points. Gentlemen, what do you guys think?
All right, I'm going to go Joe Flacco here. As I spoke about him earlier, he's got a lot of weapons over there in Baltimore, such as, a bunch of weapons. I already touched on him earlier, so I'm not going to go too hard into them. And they're playing New Orleans, who they're going to destroy. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
For me, I'm sticking with the youth theme here. We got Jameis Winston, who's back. He's back, and he is the starting quarterback, as I predicted weeks ago.
Youth?
As I predicted weeks ago, Jameis Winston would be carrying this team over Fitzmagic, and that he has.
Well,
29 points and 4 touchdowns last week. And, by the way, you know who he's facing this week?
Who?
The
Tell me.
Cleveland Browns.
They are a good defense. Do not start Jameis Winston. They are a great defense.
They're 20th. They're 20th against the passing game.
They are 4th in allowing quarterbacks points in fantasy. They're 4th.
You know what? I already gave you the statistic of the passing game. It doesn't matter. I don't care what your numbers say. It's the Cleveland Browns,
Please
the
stay
same
in your
team
box,
that did not win a
Jack.
single game last year. I don't care. You know, they have some wins this year, finally. But I'm taking my chances with Jameis. I love what I'm seeing from him. He's starting my team this week.
Both very interesting. But let's move on to the next one. We got Mitch Trubisky versus New England, and then we also have Andrew Luck versus Buffalo. Both are equally projected and even 18 points. Gentlemen, what do we got going here? Let's start with Seth.
I'm going with the red-hot Mitchell Trubisky.
Ooh.
I talked about him a lot earlier in the show. He's only owned in 29% of the leagues, and he has 9 touchdown passes in the past 2 games.
Fountain
I don't know how many times I need to say that. This man is on fire. This is not even a debate.
It is because, let me tell you, Andrew Luck is better than Mitch Trubisky. He's got more years of experience.
More injury experience.
That is true, but still, he's healthy right now. And he's been on an upward trend. The Colts, he is the only person on that Colts team. He has had no weapons. No weapons this year.
Are you arguing that the quarterback is going to be better because he has no weapons, Jack?
No, he's got
That makes
T.Y.
literally no
He's got
sense,
T.Y.
Jack.
Hilton back.
Oh
He's
my
got T.Y.
goodness,
Hilton back,
Jack.
and
And
that's
then
why
you
he's gonna
also
go.
you're talking about vets being better than rookies. Patrick Mahomes, Jack, one of the best quarterbacks in the league currently.
All right, screw.
I'm
no,
not
we're
going to
talking
talk
Patrick
about
Mahomes.
this, Jack.
All right.
We got
Jack's so
LaShawn
salty.
McCoy versus the Colts, and then we also have Tariq Cohen against New England. Both are equally projected at 14 points. Gentlemen, I hate to throw it to you, Jack, but what are you going to say?
Why do you hate to throw it to me? I have good picks. If you listen to me through the weeks, I give you good advice.
Some
Jack,
may
you do have some good picks. I'm not
I
gonna
have
lie.
very good picks. You followed me on some of my picks before.
I did follow you. Good
Okay,
picks.
well, I'm going Tariq Cohen here, and he is good. I'll tell you why. I don't think this New England game is going to be a shootout. It's going to be close, and that bodes well for Cohen. He is trending upward, and Jordan, on the other running back on that team, is trending downwards. He's going to get more touches, and you should have him starting over LaShawn McCoy, who we all know is shaky on that Buffalo team.
You know, before I get into Shady McCoy, remember when you told me to start Duke Johnson?
I didn't tell you to start
You
him.
did.
Duke
You did.
Johnson
Those were your
Jr.
words verbatim. By the way, that week he got negative points. Anyway, I'm going to continue with what I was going to say. So, LaShawn McCoy is playing the Colts this week, who have allowed 106.8 rushing yards per game, 2 running backs. I'm just looking at LaShawn McCoy, and I think he's going to have a great game this week.
You also have Josh Allen, who is going to be injured, so they might be running the ball a little bit more. A popular versus on this show, we got Sony Michel. Michelle.
You said Michael and
You said Michael through the run-through. You know, you got me all confused here. They're playing the Bears, and we also have James White versus the Bears. They're both projected as 13 points. Seth, what do you got?
I got James White. I mean, he's Tom Brady's go-to, both on receiving
James White?
and rushing. Yes, of course. This man's got 4 receiving touchdowns this season. Tom Brady, if you're double covering Gronk, or if you're covering Josh Gordon or Julian Edelman, who's going to be there to receive the football?
Seth,
James White.
You make
He's
me
the guy.
cry.
I make you cry. I make you cry tears of sadness. Knowing that
Because
you
the
lost
picks are so
the
bad.
debate.
All right, Sony Michel is the obvious person to take here. He's New England's feature back. And New England has always had a great running game, but they've always had a running back guy by committee. And now it's Michel time, guys. Come on. You got to pick him up and start him.
I do like Michelle.
All right, both very interesting. Robbie Anderson playing the Minnesota Vikings versus Kenny Stills playing the Detroit Lions. Both are evenly projected a 10-point game. Jack, what do you got?
All right. These are probably the 2 biggest boom or bust guys you can find in the league.
That is so true.
So it's very hard to pick who's going to boom and who's going to bust, or if they're both going to bust. But I think Robbie Anderson's going to boom this week. He he doesn't have. Kenny Stills just doesn't have enough repertoire with Brocktober and Brock Osweiler.
You know, you were defending Brocktober a little bit earlier. I'm just going to quickly say that we have. I'm going to go with Kenny Stills. Detroit's allowed 10 touchdowns this season. So for me this week, I'm rolling with Kenny Stills.
All right, both very interesting picks here, boys. But you know, I love listening to it, and hopefully these guys do too. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned.
Josh. Not all of you.
Hey, bud. Hey,
What?
what are you doing October 17th at 2 p.m.?
I don't know. What are you guys doing?
Funny you should ask, because we're actually watching the Media Summit Red Carpet Show at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, October 17th on WTOP 10.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back to Fantasy Factor. We're adding a new segment to this week. Jack's bold predictions.
My bold predictions, and here they are, baby.
Boy.
Brocktober is in full swing.
Why is this man
Brock
getting deep lines?
Osweiler, pick him up, start him, enjoy him. He has 380 yards last game on 44 passes. Albert Wilson, Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker, Danny Amendola, all studs on that wide receiver core. Shh. All right, we're good.
Brock
That's
Osweiler?
no speaking, Seth. You've already touched on my
The same man who
picks.
got laughed at Houston?
Yes, him. Don't listen to Seth. He is not smart. All right, New England. Anyone from New England this week is going to be a bust. Khalil Mack is amazing.
Wait, what?
Khalil Mack is amazing. Pressure is the key to rattling Tom Brady, and he will be rattled this week. So let me tell you, don't start anyone from New England.
If you want to lose, then listen to what Jack is. What are you talking about?
What am I talking
man?
about? I'm talking about good picks.
The New England Patriots.
Yes,
Tom
don't
Brady's the
start-
best quarterback of all time. Don't start him?
Yes.
What is the matter with you? You're delusional, Jack.
You're delusional. You're getting too red in the face, man. All right, next one. Kelvin Benjamin is finally going to go off. Derek Anderson is at the helm of Buffalo, and he was the backup in Carolina. And let me tell you, Kevin Benjamin is going to catch a lot of passes because he's got a good rapport with him, and it's going to be good. So pick him up this week.
Dude, are midterms what are they doing
I don't
to you,
have
man?
midterms.
This man is
I don't know what the
absolutely
problem
brain
is.
You're the one having
I think
midterms.
everything that he thinks is good is bad.
That was a disaster.
It's bad. Listen to
It
the
was a
exact opposite
disaster.
of what this man is saying to you
Don't
right
start
now.
Tom
I
Brady.
Don't start Tom
swear.
Brady. Start Brock Osweiler in his place.
this
You
man says
heard
don't-
me first. You heard
Brock
me.
Osweiler over Tom Brady? I'm frazzled. Just keep going, Jack.
That's
You
it.
know what?
That's all I got.
Actually, Jack, please stop.
Please stop.
Those were definitely some
We
bold
have 10
picks.
seconds,
Those were
gentlemen.
definitely some
Let's
bold
just